sorry if I seem a little on edge. The picture up there with Mike Shinoda and Chester Bennington, it's one of those things where it's got one of those sticky pads on it. They stick to the wall, and it decided to fall off the wall last night while I was sleeping. And it kind of did bend it a little bit, dent it. I'm upset with that. So I'm just kind of watching the camera just to see if it's like tipping off, because if it falls, coming right on my head, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, without further ado, let's just get this video started. So back on May 10th of 1994, Weezer released their big debut album, the Blue Album. It was titled Weezer, but we called it the Blue Album because they've had, what, like 6 self-titles at this point. And it featured songs, if I get my vinyl here, featured songs such as My Name is Jonas, The World Has Turned and Left Me, Surf Wax America, In the Garage, and Only in Dreams. However, the big songs off of this thing were Buddy Holly, Say It Ain't So, and Undone, the Sweater Song. And today, we're going to talk about 2 of those 3 songs. Now, usually for single versus single, I try not to make it 2 songs off the same album. I want to take a look at 2 different eras. But with Weezer, it was so hard to pick one song from this album and then pin it against something else that may have done okay but not as good. I thought about doing one of those songs versus Beverly Hills, but to me, anything on the Blue Album is better than Beverly Hills. And then of course the Green Album had like Hash Pipe and Island in the Sun, but again I was like, yeah, but those singles aren't as good as anything on the Blue Album, so I would pick one off the Blue Album that would just win. So I decided to break my rule, and today we're going to look at Weezer's big singles, Undone, the Sweater Song, and Say It Ain't So, and just basically go through what I think, and then in the end, in my opinion, pick which one I think is the best of the 2 singles. So let's get right into it, shall we? If you want to destroy my sweater, say it ain't so. So this album was not necessarily promoted. There was no singles that came out before this, but the first single that did come out for it after the album was out was Undone, the Sweater Song. This kind of brought a more nerdier type rock to the mainstream, as around this point in 1994, Kurt Cobain had took his own life, and grunge was kind of the dying genre at this point, or what we like to call dying genres, and nu metal was kind of on its way up, with thanks to bands at that point in time like Rage Against the Machine and Korn releasing their debut albums. Weezer wasn't one of those bands. They weren't a grunge band, they weren't a nu metal band, they wanted to be what they wanted to be. And you look at everybody in the band having these kind of shy, anxiety personas, even though they're real, they're not like playing characters. It kind of made us go, maybe you can be a nerd and can be in the rock business. Just listen to the song In the Garage. So many just nerd stereotypes in there that it makes you just go, wow, I didn't know you could sing about this in rock music. With Undone, the Sweater Song, it was about Rivers and his anxiety, what he had to go through and whatnot, and you can definitely see that, and I like the way it starts, and especially in between the verses where you get this one guy coming up who's like, hey bro, what's up, and all this kind of stuff, you ready for the party? And the other guy's just kind of going, yeah, you know, parties, I mean, they're cool, even though you're just kind of like, yeah, you know, parties, not my thing. Like the guy with the anxiety, you can tell which one it is. It's just, it's so unique in its own way, especially for it being the first single. But this was never been able to be replicated by anybody ever again. Even Weezer couldn't replicate the good song of Undone, the Sweater Song. Like, it's just so hard to do. It's like how Parasite Eve is for Bring Me the Horizon this year. You listen to how unique it is, and you just look and realize nobody's ever done anything like this before, and anybody who tries it afterwards just isn't going to be able to do it as good as they did. And Weezer, with this song, the only band I've been able to see that pulls off this like the hey bro, how you doing, like the whole like I like to call it skit during a song thing, is Weezer, because you're just waiting for it. You feel like it is supposed to be part of the song with the, you know, guitars playing over with this eerie feeling. It just feels right. And then of course you get that big chorus and, you know, some lyrics that might be a little questionable, like Rivers talking about you're lying there in your Superman skibbies. You know, Rivers Cuomo to me has always been a underrated lyricist because we listen to some of the stuff that he's put out there, including this. Mary in a biatch, having 7 kids. And you just sit there and think to yourself, what the hell does that mean? Like, obviously you can tell what it means sometimes when people are trying, but with Rivers Cuomo, even in his dumbest of lyrics, you sit there and you're like, what could this possibly mean? And then it leads you to investigate, and then when you find out the actual meaning, you go, wow, that's actually deeper than I thought. I didn't know dumb lyrics could be this deep. He has an act for doing that. Plus, I also like the Matt Sharp and Brian Bell singing behind Rivers Cuomo or on top of him. That fits well. That was something about early Weezer that I used to love. Let's fast forward to Say It Ain't So, which was the last of the 3 singles released for this album. This one, even though Rivers' anxiety is personal, this one's a bit more personal, as he sings about his alcoholic father and whatnot, how he's not necessarily the father that he wants him to be, and he wishes and is trying to help his father get through this and, you know, get sober again. You know, you definitely feel it, and it has kind of the same type of atmosphere as Undone, the Sweater song, where you get the verses that are kind of like quiet and slowed down, and then all of a sudden in comes the chorus and it's just in your face. And again, you can feel the pain in this one. I think that's what makes it more real than you think, is you can feel Rivers' pain talking about his dad and how it's ruined his family's relationship with the way his father just constantly drinks. And then you have the whole Matt Sharp singing over Rivers Cuomo again, which just always seemed to work to perfection. Like, Matt Sharp was the Chester Bennington to Rivers Cuomo's Mike Shinoda. That's just how well it worked. It seemed like they could do no wrong when they did that together. Another one of my favorite songs where they do that is El Scorcho off of Pinkerton. That works out very, very well, but you know, sadly Matt Sharp wasn't around long. He was only around for 2 albums and then skedaddled out. But, you know, with these 2 songs, they have their staying power, and they're both very similar in a way, but in the end, one has to be better than the other, and, well, this is where it gets tough for me. I mean, asking me to pick between any of the 10 songs on the Blue album and going, which one do you like more than the other, is just so tough, because I feel like all 10 of the songs that were on this album, yes, even Only in Dreams, the 7-minute finale that's just fantastic, could have been singles. When you think about it, looking back, you have a song like My Name is Jonas, which is a fan favorite that they still play today, never made a single, wasn't one of Weezer's popular songs other than with fans, but goddamn, do people love it. And you look back and go, why was this never made a single? This would have been like a perfect kickoff single in this case. And with these 2 songs, it's kind of the same, where, yes, I always say that with a band and their first singles that they put out, people always tend to think it's the best thing ever because it's their first single, and at that point in time, obviously you hadn't heard anything from them, so to you it was like the best they had to give at that point. And I don't want to say that there are songs better than the Sweater song that could have been made singles, but you look at it now and you go, you know, Weezer, even though they've never been able to replicate the song and how good it sounds, I would definitely pick other singles over this. Say It Ain't So is my favorite Weezer song. For those of you, spoiler alert, didn't see my top 20 favorite Weezer songs, this is my favorite one. And this is the one that I think is the better single and is just the one that I think holds up better today, because this isn't just a Rivers Cuomo thing where he's not the only person that has to deal with an alcoholic parent or an abusive parent. There are other people out there that have to. I've personally never dealt with it, but with the way the song is set up, you can just, like I mentioned, feel the pain that Rivers is going through trying to talk about this in the song, and he does it just so well. Like, it feels like it's not actually like he wrote lyrics down and then sang them. It just feels like this stuff is coming from his head, and it's what he wants to say to his father and to anybody dealing with these situations. And I think that's what makes the song so unique in itself. And to this day, there has been songs that have come close to dethroning this is my favorite Weezer song, but nothing so far. Even the 3 new songs that are out that are really good have not come close, or probably wouldn't even crack my top 10 for favorite Weezer songs of all time. And that just says a lot for this song still being my favorite to this day, even though now it's, 26 years old, and they've had 11 more albums after this, I think, 11 going on 12, so yeah, that's just my basic opinion. I love these two songs, if we're being honest, and it was very hard for me to pick because, well, like I said, I love the Blue Album, I love these songs, so asking me to pick one was like asking me to pick my favorite child, and that's just not something that you ask a parent to do, is, out of your two children, which one do you like the least? It's just like, you don't do that. That's not a question you want to answer. I didn't want to, but here we are, and yeah, that's basically it for episode 3 of Single versus Single. I think it's episode 3. Yeah, episode 3. You guys can tell me in the comments below. Give me a band or artist that has 2 very popular singles that are close to each other in popularity, or maybe they are just both very popular, and, give me an episode idea. And it may or may not turn into an episode of Single versus Single, I don't know, because like I said, I have other ideas for episodes for this channel, but, to keep it going, I may need your help in giving me some. Even if it's songs that I don't like, I'm still going to tackle, because in the end, with this series, I have to pick the better song. I can't just say neither of these songs are good. I can't say both of these songs are good. I have to pick one, whether I like them or hate them. So you can go all out with this. You can give me an artist that I hate and have to make me pick between the 2 songs that I absolutely loathe too. So that might make this series a little bit more fun. But yeah, that's basically it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and until then, stay safe out there, and I will catch you all in the next one.